All right. Thanks everybody for joining us in this session. During this, we are going to cover Adobe Spark Post and how that can be used to uh, um, make social media posts. So the first couple of goals for this session are to, first, we're going to demonstrate creating social media content in Adobe Spark Post. And then second, we would like to create an Adobe Spark post that can be used to promote the 2021 EMSC survey. So just a little heads up and a little background on Adobe Spark as a program. In case you aren't aware, Adobe Spark is a free web-based application that allows you to create videos, mini web pages, and social media posts. Obviously, video creates the video. Spark page will create the mini web pages, and the Spark post is what we're going to be using today to create social media posts. We have taught Adobe Spark a couple of other times in other workshops and trainings. Actually, the last workshop we did in person was in August of 2019 in Washington, D.C., and we covered the Adobe Spark video features and the Adobe Spark page features, which is that mini website program. But it has been a while since we covered Adobe Spark Post. They have some fun new features that we're going to cover. So without any further ado, I'd like to hop into Adobe Spark. And if you're following along, you can do that by going to spark.adobe.com. And we're going to start working on a post. So let me pull that up. So as you can see, it's spark.adobe.com that you'll want to go to. You'll want to log in. And then the first thing we're going to do is just do a quick little tour. One thing that's important to note is for this demonstration and any others that we do, we use the free version of Adobe Spark. You can pay for some upgraded features, but we have found the free version to be quite robust. It actually, you can use most of the features in here. On the left-hand side here, this plus is what you can click to select what you want to do. If you want to do a video or an Instagram post or an Instagram story or a flyer or a Facebook post or whatever, and then you can click view all and it'll give you a lot of different options. Projects will lead you to all of the different projects you've worked on in Adobe Spark. And then brands and libraries are both paid features that we're not going to go into. So the main thing here, these are the most likely types of things that you'll be doing. In our case, we're just going to come here and click on Facebook post. If you wanted to try something else, click this plus and play around with it. Click on view all, see all the different options. But in this case, we're going to be making a Facebook post. So I'm just going to click there. As I mentioned, Adobe Spark is free software, so it can sometimes take a minute or two to kind of load up since we're working on Adobe's servers. So just be patient with it, it'll load up. So now that we've selected that we want to make a Facebook post, it automatically brings it in here in a Facebook post size. So this is the blank canvas that we're going to be working on. And this is the page where all the work is done. A quick tour of this. So here on the extreme right hand side of your screen is where you're going to see all of the different things that you can do. And each of these buttons has multiple menu options underneath them. This plus button that says add, we'll be using this one quite a bit. It allows you to add text, add a photo, add an icon. Logo is a paid feature. But we can add text, photos, and icons to our post. Templates is what we're seeing here. It allows us to start with a template. We are going to create one from scratch, but if you're creating one on your own, I would recommend sliding through these templates, taking a look at them, and getting some inspiration from them. I sometimes wonder how people come up with all these creative ideas. So for me, it's super helpful to come through and get some ideas from these templates. It could be something totally unrelated to what their template is about, but you just use the similar fonts and similar images and things like that. Note that any of these that has the little yellow tag is going to be a premium option. So those are not going to be available unless you pay for it. But any of them that don't, which there's quite a lot, are going to be available to you to use. Design actually allows you to put in your text and everything and just kind of have it plain, and then select a design and it'll automatically put your text and stuff into that design. I don't have time today to go over with it, but play around with that. It can be kind of fun. It doesn't always work super great, I've found, but you can play around with that on your own. Colors is where we're going to go to change the color of basically anything, background, text, whatever it may be. Background here allows you to change the layouts of the of what's back there. So like this one here, you see it has multiple different squares in it where you've got different pictures. That's going to be found, things like that are going to be found in background. We're going to be using that as well. Resize allows you to automatically jump from a Facebook post to an Instagram post to a flyer to just different sizes. Animations we're going to go through at the very end, and then libraries is a paid feature that allows you to basically upload your photos and stuff to Adobe Spark. And then they host those for you. If you just keep them on your desktop or something, you won't end up needing that libraries option. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are going to start by coming here to where it says background. And as I mentioned, background allows us to come in and select a lot of different options. It will kind of automatically split up the background in whatever way we choose. For the post that we're going to be making today, I want to come to this this one with 4 corners. It's about 6 down on the left, if you can see my cursor here. Click that and it will pull in 4 different quarters on this Adobe Spark post. If you wanted a border around each of them, you can use this slider and it will create a border. In this case, we're just going to keep that at 0. We don't want that border. And you'll notice it automatically selects some colors for us. Don't worry, those can always be updated and changed. So the first thing we want to do with this template is we've picked the template, but I want to adjust it just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this bottom right corner, and you'll notice it pulls up these little handles on that. I'm going to select this top handle, and I want to make the top boxes just a little bit bigger than the bottom boxes. So I'm going to drag it down until it's, I don't know, roughly 60-40 maybe. 60% at the top and 40% at the bottom. With this same one, it'll do the same thing. It'll drag this whole center line left and right. We're going to keep that one right in the middle though. But note that when you use a template, you can adjust that template a little bit. It's not going to let you do crazy things with it. Otherwise, you would just want to select a new template. But it does let you adjust it a little bit within the confines of that template. So next, we are going to change the color of this bottom right quadrant. You'll notice when I clicked on it, it automatically popped up this background option. I'm actually going to click the color button, and this brings up some color palettes. I don't want to get that into it. I don't want to have to try to find the right color for me. So I'm actually just going to click the X button here and come to colors. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. So they're actually, if you click on color up here, it will pop up. And if you click on more, that will allow a number of pre-made colors for you. That's what I was looking for. They've actually adjusted this a tiny bit since I last worked with it. I want this blue color that is 3 down and all the way to the right. So I'm going to click that and it will automatically drop that into the box on the bottom right here. These other ones we're going to do something else with. So that's the only one for now that we're going to change the color on that bottom right quadrant. Okay, so in this top right one, rather than have just a background color, I want to put an image in there. So you'll notice I selected that top right quadrant. I'm going to click this choose image button now rather than select a color. As I click choose image, it brings up these add photos options. There's basically 2 primary ways that I use. One is to upload a photo, which is ultimately what we're going to do here. But another way that is fun that I want to point out is this find free photos. If you click on find free photos, it actually will allow you to search a bunch of Creative Commons, which means that they're free to use, images. So I'm going to type in the word ambulance and hit enter. And you think for a second and it will pop up images of an ambulance. Let me see if there is one. We're going to go ahead and pick this Lego one at the top. If you click on it, it will pop right in there and it will fill that entire space. Something that if you don't like that picture, then you can click replace and it will just take you right back. If you want this image to be freely movable, you can click this move freely toggle and it will allow you to drag that image around. Otherwise, it will be locked to the background where you can make minor adjustments, but not big ones. Something that I want to point out that's kind of fun, it's in beta mode, but they have this feature called remove background. We're going to try it. I haven't actually done it with this image before, so we're going to see how it looks. But if you have a picture that has a clear subject and a fairly blank background, you can use this remove background button to get rid of the background so that all you see is the subject of your picture. So we're going to click on that and just see how it goes. Again, you give it just a second to think. Okay, so this time it didn't do a great job, I think, because the ambulance was a little bit blurry. But try that one, play around with it. It actually works fairly well most of the time. If you try it, it just doesn't work out for you, you need to go find another picture, click on this restore background, and then you can click replace and you can find a new picture. But I just wanted to point out this remove background, play around with that a little bit. It's kind of fun. And if you get a good picture for it, it works quite well. At any rate, in this case, I decided I don't want that picture. I'm going to just come over here and click this delete button. And in this case, I want to delete the content. I don't want to delete the whole cell. So I'm going to delete that content. Now it just gets rid of that picture and puts me back where I was. Again, I'm going to click on this top right quadrant and I'm going to click choose image. Now I'm going to show you how to upload a photo. So to upload, you just click this upload photo button and it takes you to your computer where you can select the pictures you want. Here I just have it in this folder and we're going to call it this laptop red background. I'm going to drop that one in there. Again, it thinks for a second as it uploads it, and then it will drop that picture right into the spot. You can grab it and you can adjust it just a little bit if you want, if you feel like it's not quite centered or whatever the case may be, play around with it. But in this case, I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to add another image to this bottom left quadrant here. So we're going to do it the same way. I'm going to come up here and click. Well, first I'm going to select that section, come up here and choose image and then upload photo. And in this case, I'm going to upload just this other one. It takes you right back to the folder you were in before. Give it a second to think. And then it will upload that. And in this case, I also want this one to be locked into the background. You'll notice if I click this move freely button, it allows me to move that picture around. If I want to add it to the background, I'll put it back where I wanted it and select that little toggle switch back over, and it will lock it to that background again where I can only do minor movements up and down or change the size just a little bit or the rotation of it a little bit. Okay, so those two pictures I'm going to leave as is. I like those two pictures. I like where they're at. So the next step is going to be to add some text to it. And adding text for me is kind of where there is a lot of options. So in this case, we actually want to keep a white background, but it's offering me background stuff now that I selected it. I'm actually just going to come up here and exit out of that, and it will bring back all of my options. I'm going to come up here to add in the top right corner, and I'm going to add text. And when you click add text, it offers you, again, text templates. Again, these yellow ones means it's premium, but anything without the yellow flag you could use. If you want to play around with text templates, you can do that. You can always change what the words say, but it will keep it in that format. In our case, we actually are going to do our own. So I'm going to add your text. I'm going to add text that says EMS for Children survey. Hit done. and it will pop in there. You'll notice in this case, it popped in there with what is called a shape in the background. It put it on this highlighted color, basically. We will take care of that in a minute, so don't worry about that. The text box in Adobe Spark Post allow you to adjust the text in certain ways, but not in all ways. So basically, I want this to be in a different format. I don't like that it says EMS for Children on the top and Survey on the bottom. So I'm going to use this little handle on the side and squeeze it in. And it allows you to drop it onto 2 lines, 3 lines, etc. In this case, I actually want the word children to be in the middle. So it will do that for me. And the next step I'm going to do is to change the font. You'll notice that this text box is selected, which means that you can come over here and it will give you options to play around with it. It'll give you color options. This is the text color versus the effects color, the background color. Here I want to actually change this font. So there are a lot of built-in fonts. If you click that little drop-down menu, I'm going to come up and I'm actually going to select Harmon Sans, just because I like that font. But when I look at it, it dropped the 4 onto that second row. And I said, like I mentioned, I want children in the middle. So let's just grab this and pull it out a little bit, and then it will put that children back in the middle. With this size, you can always click on it and then just select a certain font size, or you can type in a number. In this case, I'm actually going to go pretty big. I'm going to go size 88 for that. Let's see here. That's actually a little bit bigger than I want. Let's do more like 70. Yeah, 70 will work. These boxes right here on the right allow you to align that text left, center, to the right, or to capitalize and fit. And it will make that fit. In this case, I'm actually just going to go with align left. And then I'm going to drag that text box kind of into the corner just a little bit. So right now I want to get rid of this this shape that it gave me, this background color, and the text color isn't actually quite what I want either. To do that, I'm going to come over here and click on shape. When I click on the shape button here, it offers me a lot of different text shapes. You can play around with them, and you can see it adds this background of like a diamond here. And if I want to increase that, I can increase the size of my text by dragging on it, or otherwise, but the shape is always going to remain in proportion to it. In this case, I actually don't want a shape at all. So to do that, I'm going to come up here in where it says shape, and I'm going to click on this little checkbox. And it's going to undo that shape. And luckily, it actually flipped the colors because it was white on, it would have been white on white otherwise. So I'm going to move this down where I wanted it. I'm going to keep it how it is right now, except, well, I'm going to keep the location and the shape how it is, but I do want to adjust the color of it. So again, I'm going to click on this text color rather than the effects color, because we actually don't have an effect on it right now. Click on text color, and then it will show me the current palette. It kind of gives me some suggestions based on the colors that it's finding in my post. If you want to go back to that big list, you can always do that here. In this case, I actually am going to go with this red color. This red one is actually going to be this same color here. You can always find it as well by scrolling around and looking through these more colors. You'll see a similar color that's actually this same color right here, about 7 down or so. But I'm just going to click on that suggested. I'm going to change this to red so that it matches the motif I'm going for here. So let's see, just take a look at my notes here. Okay, so this next step is kind of fun. I think it's kind of cool. So as I mentioned before, I can't go in and change individual fonts by highlighting them like I would in Word or something like that, where I highlight an individual word, I can change the font, change the size of just that word. Adobe Spark does allow you to do that to a certain degree, though. and it's going to be with these styles. So right now we have this main style. That's just this font with the red color, no background. I'm going to click this little plus next to it, and I'm going to add a highlight style. And when you do that, you'll notice it makes the first word in my text box go black. And that's great. But EMS is not the word I want. So I'm just going to click on the word children, and that one will go black, and then click again on the word EMS, and it will go back to that main style. So basically what's happening is every time I click on a word, it's going to put it into that highlight style that you see over here at the right. And if I click on it a second time, it'll go back to the main style. So that's how you can go in. You can change the size of an individual word. You can add a shape to it if you wanted to, by clicking that little checkbox, and then the drop down. If I wanted just a little bar around it or something, I could do that. In this case, I'm actually going to deselect that. I don't want that bar in there, but you could add a shadow, you can add an outline to just the word children or to any other word that you selected. All I'm actually going to do here is I'm just going to change the color, and I want this children, the word children, to be this same blue color we have down here, which is showing up here in my current palette and in the suggested. So I'm going to click that, and that I think helps this word children stand out just a little bit. So play around with these highlights. Each text box can have a main style and a highlighted style, or almost a secondary style. And you know that is selected when you click on it. Oh, I messed it up. At any rate, if you click on the highlight over here, it will put these little white bars on the side of it. And that means, okay, this word is in that highlighted style as opposed to the main style. So I'm going to click off of that. So we're pretty much done now with this text box. But what I'm going to do, I've selected this background, so I'm just going to click the exit here, and I'm going to add more text. I'm actually going to add 2 more text boxes before we're done. So I came to add text and then click add your text. And I want to put in the date. So I'm going to say January to March 2021, just to let people know what the date is on our survey. It's going to notice that this text box is empty, and it's going to drop it in there. Again, I want a little bit of contrast between the different sizes and styles. So I'm going to change the font. You go ahead and change it to whatever one you want. I like this Voltaire regular. I'm going to pick that, and then I'm actually going to drag it out so that it ends up all on one line. And then I'm going to pull this up here and put it above the EMS for Children survey. I apologize for the color there. Let's actually come to text color, and we're going to pick that red color again. One thing I don't like is this is a little bit too big. You can always change the size of your text by coming here and typing in a new number, or if you grab a corner, you can actually just shrink it down. So in this case, I'm actually going to make EMS for Children survey a little bigger and make the date just a bit smaller. And if you want to do very fine movements of them, when it's selected, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard. So I have that date in there. I'm going to add just one final text box by coming up here, clicking this little X, and then clicking add text. I'm going to add text just one final time, and then we're almost done, and I'll show you a couple of kind of fun things that you can do to play around with them. I'm going to type in the words, make sure I'm selected here, be on the lookout for an invitation in your email. Go ahead and click done. And it remembers the font that I was in most recently, so it popped that in there. But in this case, I actually want it just on 2 lines. So I'm going to put it onto 2 lines. It's kind of an off-white color. You probably can't tell, but I actually want just clean white. So I'm going to come over here, click on the color, come to more, and then I'm actually just going to select that clean white color. And then I want to move this kind of into the corner. I just don't want everything to be centered all the time. So As far as I'm concerned, this is a completed Adobe Spark post. The nice thing about this right now is that it gives some information. It doesn't overwhelm them. It gives a date. It gives what it is, and it says what they need to be doing. Keep in mind, if you're going to post this on Facebook, you'll also have an opportunity to write text with it. This will be the image, and then you can write text with it. So any details or whatever you can put in the text, but you don't want your post, the image that goes with it, to overwhelm people, to have too much small text on it, things like that. That will end up people will just ignore your post. So details put in the text, but in the written post, but in the image, keep it relatively simple like this one is. Okay, so the last thing to cover is going to be how to share this, and then we'll go into some of the fun features like the animation. There are 3 ways to share a post from Adobe Spark Post. The easiest, or better said, the most the way that lends itself to the most opportunities is going to be this download. So if you click download, it allows you to download it as a PNG file, which is it's going to be a higher quality file, but it's also going to be a little bit larger file. A JPEG, which is going to be a little bit smaller file size, and then a PDF, which is going to be good for printing if you want to print it out. PNG and JPEG both work well for Facebook. They both work the same on Twitter. It doesn't really matter which of the 2 you pick. With Instagram actually only uses JPEGs, but if you upload a PNG file, it automatically converts it. So don't worry too much about which one of these you choose. I generally would leave it as a PNG because it's higher quality, but you'll just click Start Download. I'm not going to do it because it takes us a couple of seconds. It will kind of put everything all together, and then it will just download that file to your computer, and you can save it as a picture and share it however you'd like, whether you can put it into an email, put it into a post, whatever the case may be. The second and third ways on how to share these is going to be through this share button. Actually, really, it's only a second way. If you click this publish button, it thinks for a second and it offers these different links. So in all reality, if you click Facebook, it's just going to provide you a link, which is kind of nice. It can be nice as far as being able to go in and just paste in the link and it will automatically bring up the image, but it doesn't put the image in as an image. It puts it in as a link, and I'll actually show you. Let me pull this up really quick. Got moved. I had a Facebook post I thought screenshotted in that slideshow. I apologize, I don't. But basically, you can try that, create that link, paste it in there into Facebook. You'll see the difference. Generally speaking, if I'm going to make a Facebook post for like my page, I want the actual image put in there, in which case you'd want to download and then you just upload that image to Facebook. But any of these is going to create a link for you. If you use email, it will automatically dump that image into an email for you. A link is going to give you the same link as like Facebook. And so really, I mentioned 3. I apologize. It's really more like 2 options where you can download it or you can share it via a link. Or if you click email, it will automatically pop it into an email, things like that. Okay, because we have a couple of minutes, I want to show you this new animation feature. If you click over here on the extreme right, you'll see animations, and you'll notice they're in beta testing still, which means they're not 100% finalized and perfected, but they're kind of fun. So there basically are 2 different types. You can do text animation or you can do photo animation. If you do a text animation, you'll notice it will animate just the first text, the text box that you put in. So here we have typewriter, so it's acting like a typewriter. And then it'll put that in first using the animation, and then all the other text boxes will fade in behind it. I don't know if that's something that Adobe Spark will be changing, so you can select which text it does, but for now it's going to be the first text box you put in. But go ahead and spend some time playing around with it. There's different ways you can have them come sliding in, and You can have the words flickering, and then the rest of them will all come in, things like that. Those are going to be your text animations. If you decide you don't like those, over here on the right, you can always click none, and it will get rid of your animations. Photo animations, you just pick on what you want, and it animates all of the photos in your post the same. So here you can see, you can zoom in. If you click over here on the right, it will zoom out. Play around with them. You can have those pictures zoom in or pan in, excuse me. You can have them pan from the right, from the left, fade in and out, play around with it. Those are kind of fun. And something that is important to note, if you have animations in your post, obviously this is no longer just a still image. As such, if you want these animations to show up in Facebook, if you come up here to download, you can now download as an MP4 video, which is it's a totally standard video format. So if you do that and you want the image or the animations to show up, you'll have to download it as a video, and then you upload it to Facebook as a video, and it will just run for people, and they'll be able to see the animations you put in. Play around with those. Again, they're kind of fun. Let me see what else. Something else that I did just want to point out right before we finished up, there are additional storyboards. They're currently at the moment, as of this recording, there are not additional Adobe Spark post storyboards on the NEDARC website. But we do have a goal to get some of those up. I have a few others that I've created that I'd like to make a storyboard for. But we also have other storyboards for Adobe Spark videos, for Adobe Spark pages. If you'd like to play around with those and learn those skills as well, go to the Performance Measures tab, scroll down, and you can see those additional storyboards that will show you how to do Spark videos and Spark posts as well. And that's everything we have for you today. Hop in there, use this as a template if you'd like, but mostly you're going to not do anything wrong by playing around. This button right here will undo the last thing you did. I forgot to mention that, and then you can reapply it. So anything you do, it's easily undoable by clicking that button. Let us know if you have any questions, but we are happy you were able to join us, and hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks. Bye.